Hello, welcome to Reframing Mindset Podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Oh, okay, now welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Constant Brooks. I know this episode is going to talk about recreating yourself, And there's a lot of things and stuff online about recreating yourself and such. And there's a book, and I read a famous book that has that the 48 laws of power. And the law one. I'm going to read that law in terms of creating yourself, but I don't really mean it literally like that because that book is really talk about gaining power. What what I'm talking about is not recreating yourself to gaining power. It's recreating yourself to achieve your dreams, and maybe you're a person that wants your dream to be achieved without really having all of this fame, all have to be acquiring power. But what happens is you will have to become a new you to for because the dream, bro, the dream requires, like, for example, suppose you say, okay, I want to be rich, and you're poor now. Like, the person that you have to become the rich you will look very different from the poor you. Very different, you know. And while the rich you will be very different. So in certain cases, you may want to have some of the poor traits that you had, because some of the poor traits that you had when you were poor may help you in maintaining what, like, for example, if you keep our there's a flip side, two sides of the coin. So the good and the bad is that, so, okay, the poor, always having the poor you in mind when you're rich kind of gives you the the ability to be able to get yourself, if you're, for example, you're rich and then all of a sudden you start to lose your riches, the experience of being poor and maybe having the experience of becoming rich can kind of to help you to become to get yourself out of the rut, out of the rut of losing your wealth. You can say, okay, this is all the mistakes I'm making now. And this was things that I usually do when I was poor. So I have to kind of stop that now to actually regain my wealth and stuff like that. And the flip side of it is, your poor self can be basically a PTSD, a trauma reminder that basically keeps you up, that basically make you can't even enjoy your riches, because every day you'll be like, oh my god, I don't want to become that poor person. So every day you're basically focused on getting more wealth, and then you're not enjoying the wealth you're getting. So that's basically the two sides of it. And I want you to find that balance where you become the person you want to be while enjoying that person that you became, because that's the thing. You don't want to become the person and then you don't enjoy being the person that you want. And as well, when you become the person that you want, you're going to get haters and all those stuff. But the important thing is about the episode to made to get the point that you want to become the person that you envision yourself. You want to be that person. So you have to take on all the bad and good that results in becoming that person. Like, for example, if you remember one of my previous episodes, Elon Musk now is I reckon of this episode is the richest person in the world. That richest person in America. So yeah, and he has to basically face the brunt of all or the weight that weighs upon him. Like know I knew him I known of him before he became the billionaire, before he became the richest man in the world. And he usually inspire me and know that he's at the top. I'm see just like Jeff Bezos usually get the hate. He's getting the hate. He's getting the hate as well. And that's the result of becoming the person you want to be. The envy, all those stuff. The envy and all those stuff. That's what comes with becoming the person you want to be. And what happens on this journey is that you have to recreate yourself. And it's not a simple thing of just saying, okay, tomorrow I'm just going to become this person. No, it takes a time. It takes a time. Like they change because you don't want a fast change. The fast change will be fast, brief, and just gone. The slow change, like the one that builds character, is going to be slow, tests your patience. It's going to be you have to go through trials. You know, like for example, I was 4 years ago in 2018. I was 145 pounds, very slim, and now I'm at 185 pounds. And if you listen to the podcast, you will know that I didn't just gain 40 plus more pounds and got to 185. If you have listened to the podcast, you will know that I went all the way up to 230. And then I had to start losing the weight. And now I am at 185. So, in the recreating yourself, it won't be as the straightforward way or as you may think. You may have, there are a lot of trials and failures in becoming the person you want to be. A lot of trials and failures. But it's what happens in the recreating yourself is that the each new version of you is what you have learned from the old version of you. So maybe, for example, I give another example. Back in university days, I usually enjoy the partying. I usually enjoy the partying and stuff because I like dance with girls and whatnot. And that's the partying scene is one of those places where the girls are more likely to be loose and there's no judgment when it comes to the dance. It's just that the girl that likes to wants to dance with you or allowed you to dance with you, and they don't allow you to dance with you. And that was fun for the 3 years I was there. But what happened was after I left there and then I went back to university to dance to go to one of those parties again, I realized that I was 1 year older and these university students all of a sudden I didn't know many of them all of a sudden and they were just younger than me. That was basically the reality. Like, I just went back and realized that most of these people I don't know. You know, I will have to basically use charisma to get these girls to dance with me and stuff like that. Then I realized that damn, this place is not for me anymore. So basically, what I had to do was say, okay, I'm going to leave this place. And when I leave that place, the whole party in me had basically just died. And what happened is when those, when that, one of the things that's when you're recreating yourself, when that part of you dies, it's a real death. It doesn't go. It's not no. It's not like you say, okay, I go to sleep tomorrow. I'm no longer a party person, bro. It's I. It's like It's like when you're trying to, if you get addicted to something and you're trying to get out of that addiction, it's going to be painful, hard, and such like that. And it will be very, very traumatizing. Can be very traumatizing. But the new you will be adaptable to will be able to will go will go basically do away with that part of it. Say, okay, yeah, that's the new you. The new you will be the one that say, okay, the partying scene with these people is not for me. Or the me now. So the me now, 4 years after is that, yeah, I might go there, but for one, I was never a party. I never really liked partying. I just like the ideas of just dancing with girls and such like that. So now I'm more mature in that there will be certain conditions why I would go there. I wouldn't really need to go there. I don't really need to go there anymore. I find more mature places that I can go to. And what happens now, this type of woman now that I would like want to deal with, I would deal with now, I guess, is on a higher level. If you get what I mean. Like if for going back to the start of it, you're a poor person and you said, okay, I want to be a rich person. One of the things you have to also do is associate yourself with around rich persons. And one thing a rich person won't do is associate themselves with poor persons. You know, you know. So you yourself have to start to get do away with a lot of the poor habits so that you can start to get into the rich people circles to get information to learn how to become richer than you are. So you have to really do away the bad habits. So the same thing. No, if I want to go to the next level, and so I basically pass out through the university level and say, okay, I want to go to the next level now. I'm an undergraduate. I want to become a graduate and such like that. If I go back to the same university partying scene with undergraduate girls, they really can't really bring me further than where they are, which I am at a higher level. It's more likely it's me bringing them somewhere. So you realize that okay, no, I have to basically become more mature and start to say, okay, I have to start to leave, go into higher circles, and in order to become go into those higher circles, I have to become a new self, new me. I have to be more marketable to these higher level, for example, women that I'm going to deal with now. They have to look at me and say, "Oh yes," I can't be like, "Okay, I'm coming with my undergraduate and I'm trying to go to this high level girl." And it's like, so that's basically give you an idea of the recreating yourself that I'm trying to imagine, show you that to become the person that you want to be is not simple, but what happens that over time you always have to become a new version of yourself. And what happens is that the world requires change. The world is always changing, so you have to always be. When I think you always have to be changing. Like for example, now I remember when I left university and I thought they start mentioning about the fourth industrial revolution, which was basically that technology was basically starting to take away all these simple jobs that basically you only needed a high school degree to get. For example, cash register, truck driving, and all those stuff. You know, the fourth industrial revolution was supposed to take out all of that. It's not. It's not going as fast as they said it would. Because that was 4 years ago. But over time, it's slowly becoming it. And what happened is that for example, that person being a high school student, usually work at that cashier job for their whole year. All of a sudden, their job is wiped out. They now have lost their job and it won't come back. They have to become a new person now. They have to say, maybe, okay, I have to go to school to upgrade my skills or become someone else. They have to recreate themselves or the world will left them behind. Because that's one of the next thing that I realized with the world. World doesn't wait on you. It leaves you behind. And that's one of the next thing. The next part of it is that do you want to run with the world or do you want to run at your own pace? So if you remember from the first part of the episode, I mentioned that the law that I'm going to mention, it talks about gaining power and such like that. And I said maybe you don't want to recreate yourself to gain power. So you don't want to recreate yourself to basically catch up to the world. You want to recreate yourself to become the person that you want to be, not what the world wants you to be. So you can take your time and do the thing that you require to become that person. So there's no rushing. So yeah, so I basically give you a lot of things to think about when it comes to recreating yourself. It's a lot of aspects. Lot of aspects. Want to mention the law now. So basically the law says do not accept the rules that society forces on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. So, yes, I kind of agree with that. And for example, my um, biochemistry degree. One of the things that over time throughout these 4 years that basically made my degree no even oh when I left university wasn't really it, I wasn't really happy about how I left and the degree and such like that. What happens over time with him is that when start to appreciate the degree more was when I started to apply all those knowledge, where all those knowledge that I usually learn in university have become, I started can apply them in real life, and I am progressing. So what happened is that my degree is becoming more relevant. I can testify about the degree. I can say, okay, what is a biochemist, how it applies in real life, and such like that. I'm giving it more relevancy, and how I had to do that was I had to become a different person. I had to start becoming an actual scientist and doing the science stuff and all the boring stuff, research and all those stuff. I had to become that person so that the degree becomes relevant. So even the paper itself, so the paper itself becomes more relevant because the actions and the person that I am becoming due to it is bringing more respect. Like the fact that I'm alive now brings more respect to the degree because, like, oh yes, I had survived the pandemic. So that in this case bring more relevance to the fact that, oh, how did this guy survive the pandemic? And they look into it and say, oh yeah, I guess this guy's degree made helped him some way. So yeah, so that's a version of recreating yourself and getting that degree. I had to become a lot of different persons. Like, for example, I usually play sports. Usually play basketball. When I went to university, I joined a student leader um, position. I've never been a leader in my life. I never liked the idea of leading and such like having people under me. And then I did other stuff that are out of my comfort zones that required me to be a completely different person. And then over that time, in the finish, I got a degree, which basically a paper that encapsulate all the stuff that I've done over that period of time. And while at the time when I finished university, I thought all those things that I did never meant much. Over time, they became relevant. All those being a student leader, playing basketball, all those stuff. It I I start to understand how it may be relevant in my life and then incorporating that into the me now. So the me back then was me just doing it because I either want to do it for fun, I was forced to do it, and and such like that. But me now, a newer version of me now, understands the benefits of each each of those roles that I was put in, and then how I can use it to my in certain situations. So, if, for example, if I'm going to work and I'm put in a position where I want to lead, become a leader, me now is now able to be a more commanding leader than I was back then. But never really a commanding leader. I was put in the position for the first time, and I never liked the idea of telling people what to do, especially for a role that I never thought people even wanted to do. So that it was a really nervous experience for me. But now I'm more mature in the fact that I can, give people the vision and say, yes, let's do this and such like that. That's a version of me recreating myself in a next example of me recreating myself was that I, if you are listening to my shyness episode, you know that I was pretty shy. I was pretty shy. I'm still kind of shy, but what happens now is that I'm more able now to, if I'm put in a position, I'm more confident in my own ability to at least have a chance can hold my own. So when people come to me about stuff, I'm more confident to say, okay, maybe I don't know about that, but if they talk about a topics that I do know, I know how to say, okay, yeah, I can bring more knowledge to that conversation and such like that. So that's a version of me recreating myself, and it happened over time. It had with me slowly taking my time and doing things out of my box. Like, for example, listen to one of my way back episode, like bad girl. I think it was bad luck kicking girls or something like that. Was that remember one of the time what I did to start to get out of the fear of dealing with girls was that I started following a lot of when I was at university. I started following a lot of girls on social media, and then one of them followed me back. And then I started talking to them, and then eventually she said, "Okay, let's meet at a certain place on the university," because I, and it was very jarring because I never realized that how fast this thing will go. And then I said, you know what, let me just do it because why not? And I just went out there, and the first day, first time actually, it's like I guess that would basically it would be a date you will first link up. Yeah, you call it a date as well. I put that I check back on a date as well. But I carried myself well and she liked me and I I was pretty funny and stuff like that. And she was attached to me after that. Very attached. Yes. But what happened was that I had to do something risky, something out of my comfort zone to reach that point. And that's exactly what the next point of the recreating yourself has to be. You have to do, you can't become a new you doing the same old things. You have to start do things differently. And when you start do things differently, a lot of unexpected things going to happen. But you don't do it, you never know if you'll become that person or not. So that's like I said, this recreating yourself thing is really a risky, it's a high risk, high reward situation. And the rewards is very good, but the risk is very high. So it's up to you to say, okay. And and then next thing is indirectly or directly, you will recreate yourself. Indirectly or directly, you will recreate yourself. So it's never a much of you not doing that. This episode is just saying, okay, maybe you consciously want to recreate yourself. Maybe you consciously want to become a new person. So in order to do that, you have to really start to do different things. Like for example, me becoming a biochemist, I have to start approach things more professionally. When I can't do things more casually now. I have to say, okay, when I'm in a certain place, I wanted to say, okay, yes. it's that they seem like a very respectable person. You can't in that you have to so I have to really approach things differently if I want them to see me with more respect and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's basically it for this episode. Thanks for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
From dreams to reality. And it's nothing like it, bro. Nothing like it when you see something that you think you said that you were going to do. Like you never thought it would happen. All of a sudden it happened. And it's like wow, you know. And I'm at this stage now where I seen it manifested and now I it's the feeling is kind of faded. But what I got from that see my dreams becoming a reality is that I see more potential in myself in that. So what happened is that when a dream, when one of your dreams, something like this, okay, I really want this to happen. When it becomes a reality, you see all of a sudden a new world just open up to you. Like you can say, oh wow, I could